Good morning, Bermuda. Today we join the global community in recognizing World Homeless Day, first marked on October 10th, 2010. This day serves as a powerful reminder of our shared responsibility to ensure that every person has the dignity of a safe, stable, and secure place to call home. Here in Bermuda, we know that the challenges of homelessness are real. They touch the lives of men and women, young people and seniors, families and individuals alike. Homelessness can stem from job losses, illness, domestic violence, financial hardship, or sudden crisis that upend lives. The government recognizes that lasting solutions require more than just housing. They demand collaboration, compassion, and a steadfast commitment to sustainable, long-term change. Within a strong collaborative framework, one that brings together the government, community service providers, and the wider community, we have identified key action areas that shape Bermuda's plan to end homelessness. These recommendations form the foundation of our collective response and guide our next steps forward. They are as follows. 1, a rapid end to rough sleeping and other forms of high-risk homelessness. 2, a systemic approach to homelessness data and intervention monitoring. 3, sufficient, accessible, social, and affordable housing and welfare entitlements. 4, citizen-centric coordinated service delivery. 5, public policy reform and statutory rights and protection changes. 6, public perception and awareness. And 7, other holistic and system-wide reforms. Together, these actions provide a clear and united roadmap, one built on partnership and compassion and the shared belief that every person deserves a place to call home. In March of 2025, the ministry partnered with the charitable organization Home to support the Rental Support Services pilot program. Backed by a government grant of $148,000, this initiative fills an urgent gap by providing immediate rental support, covering the first month's rent or the deposit needed to secure accommodation. This government grant established what is known as the Hardship Fund, which is being utilized to expand access to essential social services. A multidisciplinary committee comprising of representatives from several nonprofit agencies review and determine eligibility for assistance. As of June of 2025, 29 individuals have been referred for support. Of these, 52% required rental assistance, 14% for medical needs, 17% for groceries, and 13% for utilities. Thus far, the program has financed $32,527 to support individuals and families in crisis. Importantly, all payments are made directly to landlords or vendors on behalf of applicants to ensure accountability and transparency. We also recognize the mounting pressures that contribute to homelessness. According to data from the Judicial Department between January 2022 and December of 2024, there were 117 unique eviction cases, with rental arrears cited as the primary cause in 71 of those cases. To strengthen our data-driven response, the ministry has advanced the establishment of the Informed Case Management System to track homelessness across Bermuda. A total of 25 user licenses at a cost of $7,944.28 have been purchased for use by the government ministries, departments, and key third sector partners. Staff from the Department of Financial Assistance, the Department of Child and Family Services, the Salvation Army, the Center Against Abuse, and Transitional Community Services have completed training and are now ready to begin entering data. Building Bermuda's first reliable shared database of individuals experiencing homelessness. Further, the ministry has undertaken a housing initiative, Astor House, specifically designed to assist inmates transitioning from the Department of Corrections or those on community supervisory orders who have complex needs. To this end, a grant of $317,275 was awarded to whom to support the renovation of Astor House, a 9-bed boarding facility that will provide accommodation and intensive support services for at least 6 months. The anticipated launch is scheduled for November 2025. In parallel, the ministry initiated a property survey project focusing on derelict residential and commercial properties registered with the Department of Land Valuation. The goal is to create a comprehensive database of these properties and identify their legal owners. Students, in collaboration with the Department of Planning and Home, conducted field surveys using a condition rating system to assess the external state of each property. This initiative, undertaken jointly by the Ministry of Youth, Social Development and Seniors, the Ministry of Housing and Municipalities, and the Department of Planning, will provide valuable data to inform government policy decisions aimed at addressing Bermuda's social housing challenges. Behind every statistic is a story. Every statistic reflects a real person, a person who needed just 1 month's rent to regain stability, a mother working diligently to secure a brighter future for her children, an individual leaving incarceration, re-entering society with no home to return to, but now provided with opportunities for rehabilitation through access to shelter and support services. World Homeless Day reminds us that homelessness is not inevitable. It is preventable, and together we can end it. Today, I call on every member of our community, businesses, schools, service clubs, faith groups, and individuals to be part of the solution, whether through volunteering, advocacy, employment opportunities, or simply extending compassion. We all have a role to play. Let us use this day to reaffirm our collective commitment that in Bermuda, it is our hope that no one will be left without a safe, stable, and dignified place to call home. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Furbert. We'll take questions from the media now.
Okay, thanks for the update. You mentioned about rehabilitation services for those that are coming out of the prison system. Can you elaborate on what kind of services are available?
So the rehabilitation services that we mentioned is in collaboration with the Astor House program, which will be a 6-month program for persons who are recently have been incarcerated, now having a place to call home until they can transition to find more permanent housing. But the rehabilitation services provides opportunity for them to get life skills, also allows for opportunity to, if there's any other social issue that they may be facing, that they can be directed to the right support services, as well as the component of case management.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And in terms of employment, are there any specific programs that are trying to get people in this position into actual work? Obviously, there's a training to prepare them for it, but...
I'm glad you mentioned that. So that will also be part of the programming with Astor House in collaboration with Workforce Development to provide opportunities for employment through case management.
Okay. And what is the age group of people that you're finding that are sleeping rough or homeless? And in those categories, what's the range?
Sure. So there is data that we know the majority of persons who are sleeping rough are male, black male, over the age of 50.
What about on the younger, like, what's the range?
So the last data collection that we had, that was the majority of the demographic. We should have some more data coming out at the end of this year, which we will get a better idea of whether the younger demographic numbers are increasing, or what that picture actually does look like.
Okay, and what efforts are being made to connect with the families of some of these people, if any?
Sure, I know that the charity home definitely connect with family members as being the first instance to try to see if there can be some remediation of relationships, because usually there is a home, there's a breakdown in whatever the relationship may be, whether it's landlord or family. And so that is the first step that occurs. And with Bermuda Housing Corporation, they work closely with the Department of Child and Family Services, particularly if there are families and children who are involved in trying to secure housing before a homelessness situation does occur.
Okay, thanks. And are you at all working with the City of Hamilton, Corporation of Hamilton, in terms of the population within the city? Because I do know that they've put out some statements before saying that they're looking to move people on from the parks, so they're not encroaching upon people's public spaces. But what alternatives do they have in the city?
So I did see the advertisement in the paper that you are speaking of. We do have representatives on our homelessness advisory panel that are from the Corporation of Hamilton, and so we continue to work the plan to end homelessness. The issues still surround housing inventory, which we are also continuing to address to provide housing options. But I think the Corporation of Hamilton wanted to make sure that we were recognizing the difference between homelessness and vagrancy, and people who are or loitering, who are just hanging out and about the city. And there are differences between the two. With the help of the Bermuda Police Service, just making sure that they're staying on top of that particular issue. But there is still more work to be done, definitely in support of police officers in the city or city rangers in the city, helping to curtail the vagrancy, the loitering, and the potential homelessness, which people will choose to sleep on the streets of Hamilton.
So there's a vagrancy, but then there are genuine people that don't have homes who are using the park to sleep in.
Yes.
What options do they have? Where do they go? Are there any plans to have a kind of meeting space for people that don't have anywhere else to go, where they can just have companionship?
So they will choose the parks as an option to sleep. We do know with the long history partnership that we have with the Salvation Army, and now with whom, that they do go out consistently and ask them to find, or they are helped with finding alternate places to lay their heads, and some persons are intentionally choosing not to use those options. As far as hanging about the city, that is the vagrancy, that is the loitering piece. But there are people that are out there that are intentionally choosing to sleep in the parks.
Yeah.
When there are other options.
Okay. Thank you.
Good morning, Minister. Travel into TNN News.
Good morning.
Do you have exact numbers of the homeless population in Bermuda?
The data that last was shared, which is data that Home has collected, I believe there are approximately 1,000. Yeah.
We have many.
I was just going to say that, again, we should be receiving some new data at the end of this year as well.
Are you alarmed at those numbers?
Yes, I am alarmed at those numbers. I also just wanted to share on the waiting list of Bermuda Housing Corporation, there are approximately, I think, between because the number changes often, but it's an approximation between 200 and 300 persons who are on that waiting list. That is not ideally what we would like to see. We definitely want some housing options for our people in our community. But I think what we have done is, particularly looking at the ethos and the different characteristics or circumstances of homelessness versus just studying the rough sleepers, we can definitely note that that number has increased because we're not just now counting rough sleepers.
We have many vacant buildings, i.e., school buildings that are, for one reason or another, not being utilized. Is there any intention for the government to renovate any of this old school building for almost like a homeless center to assist?
So there are a number of projects that we are currently as places to be able to provide more housing inventory in Bermuda, and they are around the island. But schools, vacant schools the schools that are vacant now are already staked for purpose. But we are, the Minister of Housing and Municipalities is working on a plan to provide more housing inventory in Bermuda.
You said these buildings are used for purpose. What purpose would they be used for?
So it's been public that Prospect Primary is going to be an alternative school for children. I don't want to go along all of the schools, but most of them are already staked for purpose. The vacant ones that are there now.
We're coming into the cooler months. Autumn is just starting, winter's coming.
Yes.
And it's very rough out there for the 5 months of our winter season. Are you not concerned of the numbers that are people that are homeless that will be sleeping in cars because parks are not going to be, i.e., a suitable place? How concerned are you?
Oh, we're definitely concerned. And like I said, Home does its due diligence where they do outreach and they go out and they ask people to come in for shelter, as well as the Salvation Army who does that. So there are options still within Salvation Army that people can come out of the cold and out of the parks or out of tent or car situations, but then that is also a personal choice as well. There are some people who will choose to stay in their cars and who will choose to stay in a tent. We can only encourage them to go to an alternate shelter, and that also is a choice.
Thank you, Minister.
You're welcome.
Those alternative shelters would be just. Could you just spell out what the alternatives are, the shelters that they can go to when they do this outreach?
It is the North Street Shelter. North Street Shelter, Salvation Army.
That's the only one?
That is the only one.
Are there any plans to expand places for people to go?
Our plan is to provide housing inventory. And Bermuda Housing Corporation also has an emergency housing option as well when they are available.
All right. Thank you, Minister. Any last words you'd like to say, Minister, on this World Homeless Day?
Absolutely. I do want to say that this is a community approach. It should definitely be a community approach in landlords recognizing the need for housing for people in Bermuda, in persons being compassionate and asking people, how can I help, versus just talking about this particular issue, how can we help? And the government is committed. We've spoken today about many initiatives that we have supported, particularly the rental assistance program, where we know through the statistics that we've collected that as far as evictions are concerned, the number one reason for evictions is rental arrears. And so we've now, as a government, provided support for a community where people can now go to home and ask for assistance if they find themselves in a particular tight or difficult circumstance. People have to also be proactive and not wait until they are in a crisis situation as well.
Thank you, members of the media. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, members of the media. That concludes our press conference.